Welcome back to another vlog. It's been forever since I've been able to do a travel vlog with COVID and all of that stuff. I just didn't feel it was right to record a vlog when no one's going anywhere. I tried to put something together and it just never seemed to work. So a lot of us are sitting at home wishing and wanting and waiting and wanting to get out, and with a lot of the restrictions being lowered, some of us, want to take that chance and actually go travel. I respect anyone who wants to stay at home, and I respect anyone who wants to go out there and travel, as long as you take the proper precautions and honestly just keep yourself safe. You got to do what you got to do. But if you are going to, take the risk, I would say to, of course, maintain your social distancing as much as you possibly can. With that being said, if you can drive to travel, drive. If you do fly, try to strategically plan your flights where maybe not a lot of people will be on that flight. So that way it's no risk. As far as I know, you could still, take trains and bus routes. Always wash your hands. Keep, your hands clean as much as possible. Sanitizer, gloves. Have your own little way to dispose them, so that way, you can change out and not feel any type of way about it. Always, just keep what you're touching minimal. If you do have your phone and stuff like that, make sure you wipe that down as well, or just don't have it out while you're, going places. Try to keep as much contact minimal as possible. And of course, keep your hands off your face. It's just something about when you're not supposed to touch your face, you feel the need to touch your face. Well, all I'm saying is to refrain from touching your face. And then if you're sick, hey, nowadays it's so much more easier to cancel and reschedule trips now. If you are feeling under the weather, just reschedule it. Your job will understand. People people that you've booked with will understand. You can book another trip. You can't exactly have another you. Now, what led me to go ahead and book me a trip, I realized I did have a little bit of spare cash. My travel buddy was good to go. The rebooking process was pretty easy. And then packing, I had to sit there and make some adjustments. And of course, there are new travel anxieties. And then, after that, all you have to do is just decide where you're going to go, which we are going to return and try to do Walt Disney World. Now, anyone who has followed my vlog, I and my best friend, travel buddy, we're supposed to go to Walt Disney World back in July, but due to COVID and just everything being shut down, we had just decided to push off our trip, because just a lot of changes were going on and we just didn't feel comfortable exactly traveling at that time. So we just made the decision recently that, you know what, we're just going to go while the capacities are low and just take the proper precautions. I have gone over this before about having certain travel apps on your phone. I always keep certain travel apps on my phone. Either they help me with finding flights, or they help me with hotel stays, or just anything I need to know. So these are the ones that kind of stuck over time. These are the ones that I keep on my phone. Now, previously we had booked with Airbnb for our trip. This time we are booked with Airbnb again. The only reason we decided to continue with Airbnb is because when we did have to cancel, they made it so easy. I got my refund back in I think 3 days. They had said about 5, but I ended up getting it back in 3. It was no hassle. It was simple, 3 clicks. So that's what led us to book again with them. Plus they had what exactly we wanted. We wanted somewhere close. We wanted somewhere inexpensive, excuse me. So we found the perfect Airbnb there, and then they made it real easy to book. Plus the people who our host answered all of our questions in a timely fashion. We were just pleased with what we got. But what made this situation easy is because once I canceled our previous Airbnb, since then I had kind of been keeping an eye out for potential Airbnbs for whenever we decided to rebook again. So whenever me and her agreed to go, I simply just had ones available. So whenever she came to visit me, we kind of just went through it together on which one we decided would be good. And then after we made that decision, I messaged the host to see, where their flexibilities were and expressed to them our concerns. Once everything was good to go, then we left it at that. After we had just kind of decided on our top two picks for Airbnbs, we decided to try to find a flight. Flights right now are super cheap depending on when you're trying to fly somewhere. If you don't have to fly, I would say drive, just because that's the safest bet right now with everything going on. But if you are going to fly, I suggest, honestly, one, take the proper precautions. Keep it clean, keep it bundled, keep yourself covered at all times. And what people aren't realizing is try to book a flight at the times where you don't think a lot of people will be on that flight. So if you can travel early or real late, I would suggest do that. That way you're minimalizing your contact with people because there's not that many people on the flight with you. So that's something that people don't realize. Another thing is Google does awesome with pretty much depicting the cheapest flights when and where. And Google's real good at letting you know peak times and non-peak times. Like, hey, this is a time where, it's busy. This is a time where it's not busy. So also keep that in mind when you're picking your flight. Yeah, you want a cheap flight, but you also want to keep yourself safe, because you can book another flight, you can book another trip, but you cannot book another you, if that makes sense. So if you can drive, just take the extra time off if you can. If you can't drive and fly, just take the proper precautions and keep it clean and safe as much as possible. And just keep up to date with the newest COVID restrictions and limitations, so that way there's no surprises for you in your travel party when you are traveling. With me personally, I love traveling with Southwest. Knock on wood. I've always had good experiences with them. Even if something were to happen, they tend to accommodate very well. And same thing goes for Walt Disney. Walt Disney's new thing, which I kind of like, is park reservations. Because so many people like us had tickets that were valid at a previous time, and they just extended their expiration dates as, kind of an awesome gesture. It's kind of confusing when you're trying to plan your trip, because technically you can just show up. But with capacity limitations, you can't just show up, because if you show up and plan a trip and say, oh, I have valid tickets, and someone else has valid tickets, everything can just get chaotic. So Walt Disney World was smart and said, we are going to create park reservations. Now, if you are going to go to Walt Disney World and you have tickets and all that fun stuff, one thing you should do before you do anything is book your park reservation. Book that, because you don't realize that a lot of people are actually trying to go to Walt Disney throughout this time period. So how it works is you basically have to decide on a date. Like, let's say you decide for January of 2021, which I don't believe they have those available yet. But let's just say January 2021, and you want to go for a week. I would strongly suggest, one, downloading the Walt Disney World app, because that's just going to make your life so much easier if you just have the Walt Disney World app. And then two, make sure you have a Walt Disney World account. That seriously makes it easier if you have a Walt Disney World account, so that way everything's purely connected. And then two, start from here, like you see here. They they do explain all of the requirements and restrictions in regards to what you need to do in order to come back in the park, and they also let you know what extra steps they're taking to make your return, you know, just that much more safe as well as magical. Um, they're real good about the whole physical distancing, enhanced cleaning, and the reduced contact. Just from what I've seen from watching other vlogs and just from my research, they are real good about making sure you understand you have to have your face covering. There will be temperature screenings, and if you do have a temperature, they will, say bye, lack of a better phrase. Um, they're serious about these park reservations, like I said. To before you book your flights and everything, make sure you have one. Just also have that mindset that the trip you have in your mind is gonna have to be flexible. Like for example, me and my best friend, we were like, we want to go to Magic Kingdom first. Well, our they had the time period that we're going, they didn't have any Magic Kingdom reservations available for the first day of our trip. So we had to sit there and say, well, okay, certain places we're not going to get to go to when we wanted to, certain places we won't be able to go to when we want to. So we had to rearrange our trip and be okay with it. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So if you're thinking, oh, we're gonna go to Hollywood Studios the first day, we're gonna go to Magic Kingdom the second day, da 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 da. No, pretty much you have to understand that if there's a reservation open for both of you for a certain time period, a certain day, then guess what? You're just gonna have to deal with that. Period. Um, Another thing I suggest is make sure you link your party's tickets before you make your reservations. That way it's easier. So that way, say there's one slot open for you and you have a party of 4 and then you book your reservation, but they can't book their reservation. Then you have that chaos of, oh, well, I can go to Magic Kingdom on Monday, but the rest of my party can't. So then what are you going to do? They're not going to let them in. They're not. So, before you do, oh, scratch that. Okay, before you do anything, make sure you have your Disney account. Make sure you have the Walt Disney World app. Make sure make sure your whole party has tickets and so forth. And then link the party. And then try to make your park reservations so that way everything is cohesive. Which probably before it wasn't this hard, but because of COVID and the capacity limitations, it is real hard to try to book things separately. You should just honestly have one person doing the booking and either have everybody there or have everybody on the phone so that way you can make these decisions quick and simple. Luckily for me, when me and my best friend decided to make all these decisions, she was sitting right next to me. So it was that easy to just sit there, book things, ask her questions, ask her preferences, and then there we go. Simple. The beauty of technology sometimes. I'm old-fashioned, but the beauty of technology. Another thing to know. Another thing to know is that to keep an eye out for their open and closing times. I know the longer the park is staying open, the more that they're kind of, pulling back on restrictions. Like, for example, as of right now, you cannot park hop, but apparently after January, they are going to allow park hopping to happen again. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If you try to go in December, there's going to be still a lot more restrictions than there will be in January. So as well as different closing times. I know in October everything closed very early, and as time progressed, they started opening up later and later. So that's another thing to keep an eye out for when you're planning your trip. I know tickets are still just for 1 day per park. Another thing to keep in mind when you're planning is with everyone being at home and having this extra time, a lot of people are really trying to help with planning vacations in 2020 as well as 2021. So if you think, hey, your vlog inspired me, I need some more information, I need some more tips and tricks, like seriously, just go on Pinterest. If you don't already have one, get a Pinterest and type in Walt Disney World trip planning, because everyone who's at home and who are, you know, Walt Disney World travelers, they are seriously putting in extra work and trying to help people get the most out of their trip, because, a lot of people are limited on funds but still just need something, just something fun, just to heighten their spirits a little bit. So I know I've been noticing a lot of people are creating extra guides, creating new printables, tips and tricks, and they're really doing the research. A lot of people who live in Orlando, Florida, are risking it to find out the inside scoop on planning trips and what's to come, to keep everybody in the loop. Whereas so, the CEOs and the corporates of Walt Disney World are waiting for press releases. These people are getting the inside scoop and releasing it quick, fast, and in a hurry, so that way anybody can make their decisions on when they want to go, how they want to go, and if they can go. So definitely check that out. I know I've been keeping eyes out for Orlando and Walt Disney World vlogs on YouTube, just to get the latest and greatest. I also put that in another vlog where I showed you guys the vlogs that have been helping me plan my trip. Those vloggers I'm still following, and they have been doing an amazing job with keeping me in the loop with all the latest news, restrictions, and updates for Walt Disney World. Whereas I'm not sitting here just waiting all day, all week to see if they're going to release a statement or not. These people go, they talk to the people, they talk to the cast members, the managers, or whoever. I don't really know who they talk to. But I hope this helps. But this is how we booked our trip, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Thank you. Please subscribe.